we are ready to bring on our guest today. We're lucky to have one of the most in-demand blockchain entrepreneurs. She's also a public speaker on blockchain technology. She just came back from the Miami Bitcoin conference, and she's an author. And on top of that, she's a blockchain content creator. So we're going to talk about that. Please welcome Aubrey Strobel. Aubrey, thank you for being on the show today.
What a great show. What a crazy day.
Yeah, right. I mean, I know you're big on Twitter. Let's get your hot take real quick on this Twitter story real quick. What do you think?
Yeah, Elon, I mean, I personally think Elon is just trolling everyone. He is the pro, he's the king at it. And right when you think that you don't know what he's going to do next, he pulls out something like this. And I was saying earlier, it felt like when I opened Twitter this morning, it felt like that scene in Mean Girls where everyone is just running around the hallways with like everything's on fire, their heads chopped off. It's insane when he does that because everyone stops and they have to address it. Like they even came out with it when the board seat situation when they said that he was not going to join the board. That was a Sunday night that they were doing that. I mean, they're working around the clock catering to him. So it is very interesting to see that play out.
He definitely demands our attention. I love that Mean Girls reference. Top 10 movie of all time. I'm gonna pivot to the Bitcoin conference. I know you just came back from there. I saw a lot of videos. I saw a lot of hype coming from that conference. What was the vibe? Like, did you see anything interesting in terms of how the culture is changing now? Because this has been happening for a couple of years. I mean, what was your takeaway from that conference?
Yeah, I think actually what you said there is big. This word culture that is happening, and crypto and culture have totally combined. I mean, this conference was massive. It was one of the biggest things I've truly seen anyone put on. And I think the people at Bitcoin Magazine should be super proud. It was just, I mean, there we are at the live desk they basically had a Sports Center desk, with live commentary talking about these topics about energy consumption, about we had Senator Lummis on stage. We had politicians there, Serena Williams there, Aaron Rodgers. Like it is totally combined with culture, and I think we're finally just seeing it happen, and I don't think people are fully realizing it yet.
You're absolutely right. One of the things that I'm interested to know, my parents used to own a mom and pop shop. They used to own a convenience store and a laundromat. How do you think blockchain technology or NFTs kind of applies to mom and pop shops, pizzerias, things like that? Can they take part in this? Well, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, there's a lot. I mean, in this space, we have Bitcoin, we have other cryptocurrencies, we have NFTs, and so everyone thinks they need a strategy. And I would actually say that not every business needs a strategy. But there are businesses that can offer payments, in Bitcoin if they want to receive, there's a great story about the $1 million pizza that was sold like years ago. And so it's like, small businesses could take payment in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies if that was something they were interested in. They could also pay their employees. They don't necessarily need to create some sort of new NFT project. But a good example, the other day I saw someone tweet out that Chipotle should create an NFT, and the utility is if you're an owner of this NFT, you get unlimited guac at all the locations. So is that worth it for some people? Brilliant. That's great for Chipotle. There can be like incentivized rewards and identities with these companies integrating crypto and Web3 NFTs into their platform without being totally changing their business model or doing anything super crazy. Just you could pay your employees, in crypto if you wanted to, if they wanted to receive it that way.
That makes sense. I love that, Aubrey. And my question is, as an entrepreneur, with someone that doesn't have the largest following as you or Zaid, how can entrepreneurs take advantage of crypto to maybe help their growth, to help their business, to help whatever they're trying to do? I think that's really prevalent, and people are trying to find the ways. They just don't know what to do, Aubrey. What advice would you give those people?
Yeah, I think it's very difficult. I think when we look at how people learn about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and all these things, most of it is doing their own research. And a lot of people don't feel safe doing that, right? It feels clunky. You don't know what resources are reliable and what isn't. But I would say Twitter is a big platform. Speaking of Twitter, going back to it, it is a big platform for cryptocurrency, for Bitcoin. They have crypto Twitter is like its own entity in its sense. The things that happen there it's pretty crazy. And Actually, I think it's one of the most powerful groups in the world right now, and that sounds silly,
Wow.
but if you think about the infrastructure bill that a year ago was maybe it was a little bit less than that, but they were trying to get passed where they were trying to tax big, mining as a broker.
Hmm.
That the crypto community mobilized faster than anything I've ever seen. There were people
Mm.
calling their senators. There's so much power in this space, and I think people are just really understanding that. So I would say join the conversation on Twitter as much as you can, and you don't even have to post the content, but just find the accounts that are kind of leading the charge and that you can follow and listen to, because those people, they're here for the long term. They've been in this space a long time, and they're giving you good information.
That makes sense. Thanks, man. And along those lines, if we shift back to companies and what companies doing, we like to break news here on this show. And we know you're pretty tied into what's going
Yeah.
on in the breaking edge of technology. Is there anything you're aware of in terms of a major company using blockchain technology? Anything that looks exciting or promising to you that you can share with us?
Well, I wouldn't want to break their news on your show, but no, they're. I mean, every day you're seeing new companies come into the space, and the real problem here is like the authenticity part, right? You want to
Mm,
come in a way that feels like you're not just doing a rug pull. Like people
Right.
sniff that out very easily, and I think actually Gen Z, you see this with Gen Z a lot. They really understand when they're being served an ad, or when a company is putting out a social statement that just misses the mark and they're actually not doing anything. And I
right.
can say the same thing with adopting an NFT strategy that's just tone deaf and it has real no utility, and they're just trying to, it's like, what's the value there for your customers, for your users? Are you actually providing value to them, or are you trying to just stay relevant, and then they basically get scammed and rugged in this situation? So
Yeah.
it's a tough area. All different companies can do different things, but I would just, I don't want to break anyone's news on this show, so I don't know if I could do that.
So is there,
Yeah.
I'm sure these companies are working on some stuff, and I'm sure over the next couple months and years we're going to see more and more companies adopt this, and we're probably going to be, probably on Twitter at least, you're going to be breaking some news on like someone's working on something cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have friends who are just launching products recently in this week, personal projects that they've been working on for 8 to 9 months. So there's people right now working really, really hard on
Mm,
projects that they think are going to be revolutionary.
mm,
And I think a lot of that will be interesting to see on like creating receipts or creating fashion items that are now like linked to the blockchain. And
mm,
there's a lot of interesting use cases that I don't think we've totally see play out yet.
mm.
And once we see these people get a little bit more creative, I think you're gonna really understand this convergence of crypto and culture that we're seeing, and that honestly is going to take over the world. In my opinion, it's going to be
Mm.
massive, and people don't even know it yet.
No, I think I'm on board with that. I mean, I think what's interesting to me now is that like I started investing in crypto in 2017 kind of casually, and when the bear market hit then, it was just kind of like silence. I didn't hear anything
Mm.
about crypto for years, right? Until recently
Yeah,
in 2019, 2020, 2020 when things started picking back up again. Now we're kind of still, I wouldn't say we're in a bear market, we're kind of like obviously not at peaks, but we're still seeing awesome
yeah,
projects that are being
Yeah.
launched. We're still seeing excitement in the space. I mean, the
Yeah.
Bitcoin conference was still,
yeah.
was banging. So that makes me excited that it's not just about the prices anymore.
It's interesting. Most of the cycles revolve around Bitcoin's halving cycle, and not to
Mm,
get too technical, but that's how it used to be. It used to be a 4-year cycle, but I think the halving has had less impact on these bull markets and as it has in the past, because
mm,
there's just so much money in the space. It's so propped up. There's so many companies entering. I mean, things can go down. Yeah, we're in a bit of a bear market, but it's not the bear markets that I used to see in this
Right.
space. This feels very comfortable,
mm.
actually. I wish people knew what like the old bear markets were, because it was just absolute pain.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like so bad, so bad. And your family's like, "What did you do? You lost all your money or
There,
whatever, you got roasted." That's not quite the same anymore. People don't care. The market's actually not dictating it. The people are here for the tech. That's its own meme. In it for the tech, and they're here to stay. And I don't think it's going away. And I think actually when we do pick back up again, I think it's going to be what the last cycle was, but like on steroids, like actual drugs. It'll be the most insane thing you've ever seen, because I thought 2020 2021 was insane personally for what I saw just across the board.
Absolutely. I don't want to relive the 2018 ICO bubble crash. I remember having those difficult conversations with my wife, and she was like, "How much money did you put into this? How much money did you?"
No.
It was those were tough conversations, but I'm happy we're past that now, and now there's a lot more positivity. So I'm excited to see where the space goes. And I think I agree with you. It's gonna be crazy when the next cycle hits. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and people are building now. This is the time to build, and during these sort of bear markets, and then you reap everything you sowed in the bear markets, and hopefully, I really do think a lot of these companies are here for the long run now. They do get it. There are people in these companies that are speaking to them, their CTOs or their strategy and officers, and they're giving them actual guidance before that they didn't have. We have people internally at companies that are vouching for some sort of integration because it makes them attractive too. It makes people want to work there. And that's good for employment. It's good for jobs.
Yeah.
I love it. I can't wait. Well, Aubrey, thank you so much for being on the show today. Where can people find you? I know you're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere.
I have all the @Aubrey Strobel domains, so you can find me on all of those places. Not a lot of Aubrey Strobels out there. There's one other woman in Tennessee. She probably is hates her.
You tracked her down.
There is. There's just one other. I did track her down.
We'll love it. Well, yeah. Please follow Aubrey. She's awesome.
Aubrey Strobel.
And shout out to the other Aubrey Strobel from Tennessee. But Dan, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Aubrey.
Thank you so much for having me. This was great.
Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We'll see you tomorrow.